You've been doing it all, affirming, visualizing, staying positive, but then it happens. One complaint slips out, one itty bitty ugh moment, and that's enough to suddenly make you feel like you've ruined everything. Sounds familiar? But what if that complaint wasn't the failure you think it is, but actually the doorway to your next manifestation breakthrough? What if your worst moment is the start of your best manifestation? This video is all about understanding how your brain actually creates your reality. From complaints to catharsis to gratitude, every piece matters. Watch until the end, because once you see the full puzzle, manifestation will finally make sense. Why complaining isn't the problem. If you've been told to stop complaining because it blocks your manifestations or because it lowers your vibrations, you've been misled. I'm going to challenge 5 of the most commonly held misbeliefs in the manifestation space around complaining. If you're open, it's going to rewire how you see yourself forever, and it's going to make manifestation so much easier for you. 5 beliefs that block manifestation and why they're wrong. Belief number 1. Complaining makes you a reactor and not a creator. You can either be a reactor or a creator. And if you react, you don't use your power to create. That remains true, but there is a twist. Not all negativity is resistance, some is fuel for change. People say, don't react, just create. But here's the thing. When you feel something and push it down, you're still reacting. You're just reacting internally, in a way that drains your nervous system. Conscious complaining, when done with awareness and intention, isn't you being a victim, it's you reacting constructively. And that paves the way for you to create. Suppressing your feelings doesn't solve them. It just hides the wound under a cheap band-aid. Belief number 2. Complaining blocks your manifestation. You've heard this everywhere. Don't complain, it creates resistance. But the truth is, complaining simply exposes resistance. It doesn't cause it. The resistance has been there all along, and your complaint just brings it to the surface. Complaining doesn't block. It reveals what's already blocked. What was previously running your brain, you can now tackle. The act of complaining doesn't block any flow. Instead, you're locating where the leaks are. Complaining becomes a guiding post. It shows you the exact belief that is misaligned. And if you recognize it and lean into that uncomfortable emotion, you can recode your assumption at its very source. Belief number 3. Complaining means you're stuck in lack. No. Complaining can be clarity in disguise. Think about it. When someone says, I'm tired of giving everything in relationships, that's not just being negative. There's a deep truth surfacing. I don't feel safe to receive. I don't feel worthy of being supported. And that can be a diamond in the rough, if you know how to shape it into something real. The value lies in the fact that you know which assumptions you have to shift in order to make real changes. A complaint is a diamond in the rough if you're willing to shape it. Complaints, if you listen closely, show you exactly where you can and where you should improve to have a better life. Belief number 4. Complaining lowers your vibration. Yes, complaining is negative. And at first thought, it seems totally reasonable to assume that it also vibrates at a low frequency. But I argue that suppression lowers your vibration even more. While suppression is not listed in the human emotional vibration chart directly, by breaking down what suppression consists of, we can actually find out where it ranks. You suppress something. That is usually motivated by fear. You suppress the complaint because you fear that you won't manifest. Fear is the 5th lowest vibrational emotion. Secondly, you feel guilty for even having that thought. Guilt is the 2nd lowest vibrational emotion. And lastly, you believe that you have to hide that negative, unproductive part of yourself. This is shame, and shame is actually the lowest vibrational emotion there is. We can conclude that nothing lowers your vibration more than suppressing a negative thought. Suppression consists of fear, guilt, and shame, which have the lowest vibrations. No matter how negative a thought is, if you choose to suppress it, you're pouring gasoline on the fire. When you force yourself to be high vibe without really acknowledging what is going on, you split from yourself. Mere acceptance of what thought you're having already puts you in the sixth highest vibrational emotion. The bar is not even that high. It's not difficult. You don't raise vibration by pretending. You raise it by processing. By accepting instead of suppressing. Conscious complaining isn't misaligned thinking. It's emotional detox. It gets the poison out of your system so you can create from clarity. Belief number 5. Complaining means you're identifying with the old story. This one's sneaky. You're told, stop saying it or you'll stay stuck in it. But here's the truth. You can't shift a story that you won't even name. You can't free yourself from a story you're afraid to admit. When you complain with awareness, you're not becoming the old self. You're exposing it. You're saying, this belief has been running in the background, and I'm done letting it run the show. That doesn't mean that you identify with that story. It means you're fed up with it, you're not in denial of it, and it's the first step to actually make a change. The same system that limits you can also free you. So, what if it's not the complaint that is the issue, but the guilt and suppression around it? What if suppressing what feels real to you now, just to appear positive and empowered, is the real problem? Complaining isn't failure, it's feedback. So no, complaining isn't the problem. It's the starting point. And if you know how to work with it, it becomes the fastest way to shift your assumptions, your energy, and your outcomes. If this video already managed to challenge some assumptions you hold about the topic, make sure to like the video so it reaches and helps the right people. If you've ever judged yourself for feeling off track, too emotional, and essentially not how a master manifester is supposed to feel, this video is for you because we're going to rewire that narrative. Your brain isn't sabotaging you. Let's talk neuroscience, because your brain has been on your side this whole time. It's just misunderstood. In my last video, we talked about how your brain can sabotage your manifestations, and that's still true. But here's the deeper truth. Your brain doesn't sabotage you because there's anything wrong with it. It does it to protect you. It's trying to keep you safe based on past pain, past patterns, and emotional memories. But what kept you safe back then is now keeping you stuck. Your brain isn't sabotaging you. It's protecting you with outdated code. That's a paradox. Your brain is the troublemaker and the solution, depending on how you train it. Again, if you haven't seen my first video, I recommend watching that too, because it will help you understand exactly how your brain sabotages you when you're trying to manifest something new. And when you understand it, everything I say in this video will click even deeper. In that video, we broke down the emotional resistance and the subconscious rejection that shows up when you try to change your reality. This video builds on that and shows you how to shift it. But if you're here first, don't worry, you'll still get massive clarity from this one. Just make sure to go back and watch the other one next. Your brain is not trying to sabotage you. In fact, it's been trying to help you this whole time. But when you don't understand how your brain processes information, you might mistake protection for limitation. This is your amygdala. You can picture it as a sort of emotional alarm bell. This part gets activated when something feels threatening or emotionally charged, like an unexpected bill. That reaction is normal. It's your survival system trying to alert you based on past pain. It's the same function that kept your ancestors alive when they were chased by bears or by tigers. It's inherently helpful. Thing is, if you don't give it extended attention, that reaction is short-lived. So what can I do at this stage? Logically think about how rational this reaction really is. Just by thinking about that, you can already diminish its importance and its impact. Next is your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain that chooses what to focus on. When you spiral into complaints and self-pity, your prefrontal cortex flags that as important. You literally train your brain to care more about what's wrong. There's a concrete action you can take here. You have to take responsibility to train your prefrontal cortex in a way that benefits you and your manifestation. Teach your brain what matters, or it will decide for you. Last but not least, you have the reticular activating system, short RAS. It essentially filters your reality. Think of it as your internal algorithm. If you habitually complain about money, your RAS starts filtering your world to show you even more financial struggle. But if you train it to look for abundance, it will begin doing just that. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what your RAS is trained to notice. If you constantly wonder whether your manifestation is working, I have great news for you. The workings of the RAS are an accurate feedback of how well you're manifesting. If you see a new pattern in your brain or in your world, you're definitely doing it right. If not, you have some readjusting to do. Microhabit. When you detect a new thought pattern, analyze what manifestation it pinpoints to. Does it align with the affirmations you've been saying? Is it exactly what you've been scripting about? Get your brain to look for the things that you do want, instead of showing you more of what you don't want. The amygdala reacts to fear. The prefrontal cortex chooses what to care about. The RAS amplifies what you have emotionally rehearsed. It's a mechanism that can really benefit you or make your life hell depending on how you use it. Now, let's tie it into manifestation. Your dominant state trains your RAS, and your RAS decides what patterns become your reality. So, what can you expect if you habitually complain and guilt yourself for it? Your RAS is going to amplify guilt, lack, and frustration. But if you acknowledge the complaint, release the guilt, and choose to focus on the solution or the desire at hand, you rewire your brain's filter. Once again, I can't say it often enough. A complaint is only negative if you meet it with suppression and guilt tripping. This is why mindset isn't just spiritual, it's neurological. Manifestation is 100% neurological. Nothing changes until your brain does. Don't fight your brain, teach it. Complaining isn't your brain failing you, it's your brain asking for clarity and for you to make the necessary changes. So when you complain and then spiral because of that, you're teaching your brain to highlight what's wrong. The brain isn't sabotaging you, it's just running old filters. Every complaint is a coin. Here's the core reframe. Every complaint is a coin. One side of the coin is the problem, and the other one is your desire. Our coin is the epitome of the fourth hermetic principle, the principle of polarity. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degrees. That means the second you identify the unwanted, the opposite already exists in that same space. You just haven't focused on it yet. It also means you can only be aware of one side of the coin at any given moment. If you focus on the unwanted, you won't be able to experience the thing you want. Your goal should be to focus on what you want. This eliminates the unwanted by default. It's universal law. You need to start treating your complaints as the natural byproduct of your desire, the guiding post to what you want, instead of the obstacle that stands between you and your desire. If you hate your body, your goal should be to feel confident and energized. If you complain about always being broke, what you really want is ease and financial abundance. Heads or tails, the wanted or the unwanted thing. You don't have to fear complaints. You just have to flip them. That moment between reaction and awareness, that's where effective manifestation begins. the catharsis effect of complaints. Here's the part almost no one talks about, but it's actually one of the most powerful benefits of allowing yourself to acknowledge complaints. Your brain doesn't just want to fix problems, it also wants to release pressure. Every time you write down or voice a complaint, your brain is trying to regulate your emotions. This is known as catharsis, the psychological relief that comes from expressing suppressed emotions. You're not sabotaging your manifestation when you complain. You're releasing trapped emotional energy your brain has been holding on to. And when you do that intentionally, without going to spirals or judging yourself, you're helping your nervous system reset. The relief you feel after getting something off your chest, you shouldn't see it as a weakness. It's your body restoring clarity and peace. And from that state, you can finally choose your new story and, most importantly, make it stick. Complaining doesn't block your manifestation. Unprocessed emotion does. Expressing that emotion isn't the problem, ignoring it is. You either express emotional pressure or it explodes when you least expect it. The moment you let your brain empty out that emotion through a complaint, you're creating space. And in that space, your new story can finally grow. You'll have the emotional and mental resources to nurture it from all the emotion that you have freed up. It's not the thought, it's the attention. You don't create with every random thought. You create with dominant, emotionally charged ones. One negative thought doesn't derail your manifestation, but repeating it with guilt and attention, that heavily charges your thought. Let's say you're robotically affirming for money. You have repeated the phrase, I received $10,000 100 times. You're going to Starbucks. And why does it cost $7? So overpriced. Do you see how the scale is still tipped in favor of your manifestation? The tiny complaint clearly didn't ruin your manifestation. Okay, cool. Just keep affirming. Now, let's do something else and beat ourselves up over it. We spent the whole day thinking about how we have messed up our manifestation and how we're not yet in the state of the wish fulfilled. Let's say there was 150 negative thoughts. Let's look at the scale now. Our guilt and suppression of what we truly see and feel made our complaint a problem. Do you remember a coin that symbolizes the law of polarity? When you shift your focus from the complaint to the desire it reveals, you neutralize the charge. This is when the thought becomes a tool. It's one thing to know what you want, but it's an even more powerful thing to know what you don't want. Because by realizing what you don't want, you eradicate it by replacing it with its exact opposite. It's a really effective and productive way of manifesting. The 7-day complaint log method. This isn't a journaling exercise that you have to do perfectly. At this stage, it's not even a manifestation practice in itself. It's mental pattern recognition. You want to scan your mental chatter. You want to observe what you actually want. Not what society tells you you need to be happy, but what would actually genuinely make your life better. Why should I write down my complaints for 7 days? Why will this work? What makes this a simple but powerful manifestation hack? A study by the National Science Foundation suggests that 95% of the thoughts we have are repetitive, and 80% of those thoughts are negative. By writing down your complaints for a whole week, you should have a lot of information about what you don't want, and conversely, clarity about what you do actually want more of. What you don't want is the clearest path to what you do want. By programming your brain to focus on what you do want, your manifesting journey will become so much more easier and effortless. You will also feel more in control of your life. That's because it will become evident that you actually do have the power to change what you don't like about your life. You're not writing anything down because there's something wrong with you. You're observing to lead yourself. That's the shift. I know it can be a hassle to keep track of all of this. This is why I created a free guided worksheet for you. You can download it in the description below. How the brain rewires through clarity. What's happening in your brain when you do this exercise? When awareness comes into play, the amygdala activity lowers. The prefrontal cortex lights up as well. And the most important thing, the RAS recalibrates after you shift patterns. When you shift your patterns, your brain will make them your new reality. Each flip from complaint to what is it that I really want is a signal. This is what matters now. And your RAS begins looking for proof. That's why clarity isn't just some overused term. It's actually chemical. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the biology behind every thought you have. Gratitude as emotional alchemy. Gratitude isn't about being blindly positive. And it doesn't have to be for the sake of tricking yourself into receiving more than you have now. It's about choosing intention over reaction. You teach your prefrontal cortex what reactions and realities are the new standard for you. Gratitude is perception training, not performance. You can actually train your RAS to see the positive thing in every situation. Because there is at least one positive thing in even the worst of situations. The coin proves that. For all the bad there is, there has to be an equally severe good. Through gratitude, you help see the RAS, the positive side of the coin, instead of the negative one. Gratitude practice should never be about making yourself see something that isn't already there. Instead, you want to become aware of what already exists, as tiny as it may be, with the goal of encouraging your brain to make you see more of that good thing. The other side of the coin always exists. The other side of the coin always exists. Teach your brain to see it. Every time you choose the new thought instead of the old one, you're building a new neural pathway. You're literally training your brain to make that the new default. At first, it feels unnatural, but the more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. This is how a belief changes from something you're trying to believe to something you actually live from. So when you choose gratitude or reframe a trigger, you're not just being positive, you're doing deep neurological rewiring. You have learned exactly how your brain creates the new desired outcomes for you. You now have a tool to constructively deal with your negative emotions and thoughts. If you track your complaints for just 1 week, you'll discover your subconscious blueprint. Not to judge it, but to upgrade it. This actually has plenty of benefits. Awareness of loops, recognition of what you actually want, emotional resilience, clearer language for manifestation, and a calmer nervous system. By partaking in the 7-day complaint log challenge, you stop waiting for change and you make it happen. If you want quick, daily shifts to stay on track with this work, check out my 1% Manifestation series on TikTok. In just 2 minutes, I introduce a super cool mindset shift to help you manifest easier. By the way, I'm Leo. I've been studying manifestation for more than 7 years now, and I believe that everyone can manifest. If you're not manifesting as successfully as you would like, it means that there are some mindset shifts you have yet to learn about, and I'm here to help you with that. I post weekly deep dives, and I promise you'll benefit from them. So make sure to subscribe to my channel.